All right, guys, Eric Polzin here with 9 to 5 Sports. Going to be getting into another stacking video here for week 11. Hopefully, we can give you guys those GPP winning stacks once again. If you guys enjoyed the coverage, make sure to give a like and subscribe. That does help me be able to put out more content for you guys, putting out more kind of content like this, stacking videos, ownership videos. That just helps me be able to know that I should be putting out more and more content for you guys that you guys enjoy. I do want to do a curtain call information thing. I will be out of the office on Saturday, Sunday, and Friday. Okay, so I'll be back with the content for you guys maybe Sunday night, but Monday for sure. So a lot of the content that you're going to see this week is going to be pre-recorded like this video. I'm getting this video out 2 days earlier than I typically would. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. If you do, like and subscribe. All right, let's get into it. All right, so looking at the top stacks for this slate, looking at right now, we're looking at the Minnesota Vikings. Yes, this makes sense. Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, TJ Hockenson. That just makes a lot of sense. Dalvin Cook has been a stud. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is a stud, and TJ Hockenson has been highly consistent. It makes sense that they'd be the highest projected owned stack on the slate, especially with some of the top stacks available being on Sunday night, Monday night, and Thursday night football. Okay, that makes the main slate kind of weird where the top projected stack is actually ranking up 4th overall on the week. So just so you guys know that. Once again, the Buffalo Bills are going to be a great stack for you guys as well. Makes a lot of sense. Devin Singletary gets a great matchup this week, one in which he could easily score another rushing touchdown. You got Josh Allen. Obviously, he's Josh Allen. Diggs there as well. And then Dawson Knox, a pretty strong tight end play. We have the Cincinnati Bengals back on the slate. Jamar Chase is expected to be back. And if he's back, that obviously makes that stack a lot better. Joe Burrow, solid, mixing solid. I actually really like this stack, the Dallas stack. You got Dak and CeeDee Lamb. And then I don't know if you have to go to Pollard or Zeke, whichever one's there. I don't know if you have to go either of them. You could also put Dalton Schultz in there as well, but I do really like the idea of playing Dak and CD together. From there, let's look at the best projected value stack. Okay, so the best projected value stack is going to be the Atlanta Falcons. Now, yes, that's mostly due to them getting a great matchup, and you would have to decide, like, if you did want to run this out. Obviously, the stacking report is just taking the QB1, RB1, receiver 1, and the tight end 1 for each offense and kind of combining that together to give you guys kind of a general feel of which stacks you should be on. Looking at this, you'd have to decide whether it be Cordero Patterson or Tyler Algier, who Tyler Algier played more snaps last week, and it seemed like that was just due to pass blocking. He played about 50% of the snaps, whereas Cordero Patterson only played about 40. So we'd have to see there. But I really like the idea of going Marcus Mariota and Drake London. You guys kind of know my thoughts on Kyle Pitts. I think he's one of the most overrated players in fantasy football. People keep saying he's highly talented and he's an athletic freak. I don't know. Would you take Kyle Pitts over Evan Ingram? Honest question. Like, obviously, just taking out age, like, which one would you rather take? It's an honest question there because we heard all that stuff about Evan Ingram, so I just think he's a little bit overrated. Obviously solid player, just not as good as everyone thought, and you see that on the film consistently each week. So I don't know. I don't know if I would play him. I do like this stack idea here. So the New York Giants, okay, Daniel Jones gets a great matchup, and obviously the biggest question is them throwing the football. They just don't throw it a lot. That's the biggest issue. But you could easily put in Saquon Barkley in the stack as well. You could go Daniel Jones in a great matchup. You could go Daniel Bellinger if he's active, but it might be Lawrence Cager. That former receiver listed as a receiver on FanDuel. I like him as a tight end play on DraftKings. Great value there. And then Slayton Barkley, the issue is just throwing the ball a lot. So you'd have to figure out, okay, is it worthwhile for them if they're not going to be throwing the ball a lot? That's the biggest question. All right, so now with us not having the ownership just yet, obviously recording this on Wednesday, putting this out on Wednesday, don't have the ownership leverage rank just yet. So let's just get into the top stacks using the DraftKings side. So let's start off with my favorite game to stack, and that's going to be the Dallas Cowboys versus the Minnesota Vikings. So easily Dak should be a very strong price point play, threw the ball a ton last week against the Green Bay Packers, and had 2 terrible picks. That was pretty much his bad plays for the game. I would say each quarterback every game has at least 2 to 3 plays that are just terrible. Every quarterback, okay? You see Tom Brady throw at least 1 pickable pass each game. It just happens, okay? And his got picked off that game. That's what happened. But other than that, looked pretty sharp. 3 touchdowns, threw the ball a ton. This is a game in which could be higher scoring as is, and I just think he should be a strong play. So you play him. I don't know if you have to play either of the running backs in this game, but I do love the idea of playing CeeDee Lamb in this game. Obviously, should get a ton of targets. He's on the field a ton. He's the one player for the Dallas Cowboys that you would feel really confident with that should have a great game. And then from there, you could easily play Justin Jefferson. Now, yes, Justin Jefferson is priced up. He obviously had that huge emotional high of a game. Typically speaking, I don't love the idea of targeting players regardless of sport coming off of a huge emotional high. Typically that's a big like golf thing. It's like a player coming off of this big emotional high. You typically expect them to have some sort of low after that, but even still, he could easily go for 20 DK points. Obviously, Christian Watson, my boy, just dominated the Dallas Cowboys defense as well. So that bode well for Justin Jefferson. Adam Thielen, he's okay. He's been someone you could plug and play if you wanted to. I think there's going to be better players around his price point that you could put in there. Same thing with Michael Gallup. Like, he could have a good game, just not something you're really chasing. From there, in a strange way, you could go both the tight ends if you wanted to. TJ Hawkinson, since he's joined the Vikings, has been a stud. 10 and 9 targets. Obviously, we love that. Kirk Cousins is loving him. I think that's part of the reason why this offense has looked much better. So you could easily go TJ Hawkinson, and then if you wanted to, you could go Dalton Schultz as well, who the last 2 games has had 7 and 8 targets. So kind of a unique stack there. And it's kind of a way to get, I guess, a little bit too cute with your stack, but at the same time could be a very strong low-owned stack. And that is going to be my favorite stack on this slate. From there, this is kind of a bad stack in the sense that, man, Wilson and this offense has struggled. But at the same time, it's like, man, they keep getting banged up. Jerry Jeudy got injured. KJ Hamler's been injured. Like, they have not been healthy this whole season. Obviously, Javonte Williams is not there because he's injured, but still, Russell Wilson did throw the ball 42 times, and I just like targeting quarterbacks that are going to throw the ball over 40 times. If he does that, he could be an okay play. Obviously, going against the Las Vegas Raiders, a terrible defense. I liked him for stacking purposes last week because he was in an easy matchup. Well, now he gets another easy matchup. You could put him with Cortland Sutton, who, with Jerry Jeudy banged up, with KJ Hamler still banged up, Sutton could be in for a big workload once again. Saw 11 targets last week, had 12.6 DK points, needing to score a touchdown. And then you could also roll with Kendall Hinton as like an okay value play. The issue I have is that there's not really anyone you would want to run it back with. So that's why it's not really a stack that I'm going particularly out of my way to play. So we'll touch on the New York Giants Detroit game as well. So we did see that the stacking report was liking the Giants as a stack, and I'll show you guys why. So obviously, Daniel Jones gets a great matchup. And the thing with Daniel Jones is we know he's going to scramble the ball or rush the ball at least like probably 5 times. He has a chance to score a touchdown as well. A lot of people were loving that. The idea of Justin Fields last week, well, because he was an easy play, even if he was priced up a little bit, like had a great matchup going against Detroit. Obviously, Justin Fields just ran the ball all over the Detroit Lions. You could see the Giants seeing that film and saying, all right, let's get Daniel Jones 10 rushing attempts in this one, which we would need because throwing the ball around 30 times per game and 17 last week, we need more than that for sure. And one of his touchdowns was kind of a lucky touchdown in which a player mistackled Darius Slayton, and he went for a big touchdown. So you could easily take away one of those touchdowns as well. Kind of a fluky play is what I'm getting at. So not someone you're loving too much, but you could put it in there. And then you could go Saquon, obviously. From there, Darius Slayton, I guess you could play. Going to be playing a lot of snaps. Like I said, that it was just one big play. And I think his ownership is going to be really high because a lot of people didn't realize how fluky of a play that was. So Isaiah Hodgins reverted back to the practice squad on Monday, but he's also someone I could see maybe being active again for this game, getting called up. It's kind of strange. He saw 65% of the snaps, saw 2 targets. Obviously, if we're getting him playing a lot of snaps, once again, in this game at the minimum price, it would be someone worth a look, especially in a stack. Like if he catches 3 passes for 70 yards, he's doing his part, just a weird thing that happened there. And then also looking at Daniel Bellinger, if he's active, he's going to be a strong price point play. If he is inactive, then you're looking at Lawrence Cager, who I believe he also went back to the practice squad as well. So actually, I think it was Cager that went to the practice squad, not Isaiah Hodgins. I apologize. So Cager went back to the practice squad on Monday, but he's someone with Daniel Bellinger kind of ruled out. You would expect to be active once again, and you'd expect him to get a majority of the snaps like he did last week. The former receiver would be a strong play for you on that slate then. The issue is I don't really see any player worth running it back with. Like Brock Wright still playing a lot of snaps, and a tight end has caught a touchdown in each of the last 2 games with TJ Hawkinson out. The problem with it is they've all had 1 touchdown. All their 3 tight ends, the 3 former backup tight ends, have a touchdown in the last 2 weeks with Hawkinson gone, but that's it. That's all they've had. And then like a simple stack you could do is, like I said, the Buffalo Bills stack. If you want to put Singletary instead, there you can, but you're going Josh Allen, Diggs, and then I do like the idea of going Knox. You could possibly run it back with Amari Cooper. The Buffalo Bills defense is starting to get beat up in the passing game. If Amari Cooper struggles, then you're looking at DBJ. Like it's kind of a simple stack in that sense. Carolina, Baltimore, you could stack that game as well. I don't particularly love that. Ending on one of my favorite games to stack as well. Once again, the Chicago Bears. All right, so we've been stacking against the Chicago Bears for a while. And I think it's going to be a beneficial thing once again. So you could easily play either quarterback on this slate. Guys, Marcus Mariota had his by far worst game of the season on Thursday Night Football, and he was still able to score 18 DK points. Very strange year he's had, because he's had some games in which he's looked really sharp and hasn't scored any DK points. And then last week, probably, easily his worst game. 18 DK points. Very strange there, but he's at a low price point. He's at a price point in which you could make work in a stack. You could usually play Justin Fields in the stack as well. So the biggest issue is that I do want to play the running backs, because the running backs equally good of a matchup, but it is strange. All right. So Khalil Herbert went on the IR. He's been gaining a decent amount of touches, 7 to, let's just say 15 touches a game, or opportunities per game. I expect those touches to mostly go to Trestan Ebner, who really looked good in the preseason. We saw him fill in for a little bit this season and looked pretty good doing that as well. So I kind of just expect, let's just say 8 of those opportunities to go to him, and maybe a little bit go to David Montgomery. I think people are going to overplay David Montgomery this week. They might get away with it because of the matchup. Obviously, for a stack, you could do that. Easily 2 of the rushing touchdowns that Justin Fields had last week could have went to David Montgomery. 1 yard QB sneak could have easily went to David Montgomery. So could play him. And then on the flip side, Tyler Algier played more snaps and had more touches than Kadero Patterson. Had 3 targets and 3 catches. Now they went for minus 17 yards. We saw the Panthers really sell out to stop the run, and that worked out well. I don't think the Chicago Bears are going to be able to do that. So one of Patterson or Algier are going to hold some value. The problem is you don't want to overstack a game too much. But for example purposes, I'm going to put them in there, okay? That's part of this. You guys can decide where you want to make the pivots from. Then obviously Darnell Mooney getting a great matchup this week. Only saw 4 targets last week, but caught all of them for 9.7 DK points. If Justin Fields has to throw the ball a little bit more, he'd be the one that's benefiting from it the most. Could get 8 targets. He just looks good. It's tough to not play Darnell Mooney just a little bit, just with how talented he is, knowing that he could easily break a slate at any point if they just need to pass the ball a lot. So I do like him as a play, especially as a stack. And then if you are stacking him, you kind of just have to play Cole Kmet in another good matchup. He's had 6 and 7 targets the last 2 weeks. 2 touchdowns in both those games. That's not going to happen again. But you could look for, 5 catches for 60 yards and get 11 DK points. Wouldn't be terrible. Then on the flip side, Drake London, guys. Drake London gets a great matchup against the Chicago Bears defense that has been terrible lately. We've seen him get 7 and 6 targets the last 2 weeks. It's one of his best matchups of the season thus far, if not the best matchup. I expect Drake London to have a good game. Once again, though, the targets need to be there, and that's what makes this game a little bit difficult, is that you're hoping that the targets will be there. We're not guaranteeing that the targets will be there. And that's a pretty solid stack there. Maybe Chase Claypool gets a little bit more involved this week. You could potentially play him as well, but this is a solid little game stack for you guys as well. All right, that's all I have for you guys for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. That helps me be able to put out more content for you guys. Want to call out that I will be unavailable out of the office on Friday, Saturday, and most of Sunday. So the content will be coming out a little bit earlier, and obviously with DFS content, it is subject to injury news. To change to injury news. So if it does change, I apologize. Trying to put out the content for you guys still, trying to give you guys that information still. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the coverage. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. Let's have a good slate. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.